Can you hear me? Oh, now. Sorry. Okay, so let me start over in that case. Right. If you are Twitter fans, please use the Perform Global 14 hashtag. Spread the news. With Ком퓨웨어 APM, as you know, we are pretty much deployed everywhere around the globe. We do have 1,000 new customers just in the new release cycle. We have, a customer base of over 5,000 people, 5,000 companies, and it's growing strong. We also have, on our side, about 600 engineers, developers, researchers, so pretty much any field of R&D covered, which is the biggest investment in the APM industry. So apart from having this huge customer base, we're also, striving a lot for investing into future development. Why do we need this, right? Why do we have to constantly drive for new areas? Why do we have to invest this strongly, and what's our approach to that? So as you can see nowadays, in the APM space, you have pretty much the whole deployment chain of any app. You start with the complexity at the edge, where you have, all different kinds of real users using it. You have a synthetic approach, so that you can drive your load tests, make sure that the application is working before you actually roll out, but also with the real user monitoring on any kind of device, really. So, we have tablets, we have mobile phones, we have the, standard websites. We even go so far to have it on cash registers and so on. And then you come to the first step, you come to your application tiers, to your back-end side. That's where usually we introduce our agent technology, which is, anywhere between, once again, web servers down to .NET, Java applications, and so on. The next layer, so to say, is your network. So anything that's connecting those different tiers. We also allow you to actually monitor from this angle. And, giving you 100 visibility over your whole deployment chain. This starts, really at the edge, at the user's browser, at the click, down to anywhere from mainframe, databases, and anything in between. So you can already see, everything is covered. So that means we have a growing complexity, which you basically can only cover right now with Ком퓨웨어 APM. So let me start at what we define as, the entry point usually for the applications. We support, as I said, different web applications, different web tiers. We support mobile web, anything from native mobile web apps, so you're on your iPhone, on your Android phone. We support mobile websites as well, so basically, and any mixture in between, so hybrid applications. And the cool thing really is we allow you to do this together with your customers, so really monitor their actual experiences on these devices, but also let you do this like in a synthetic approach. So letting you run the different load tests, letting you see basically before you roll out what's going to happen in a certain case. And the core thing for this is really that you can get the important information which you need. It's not only about technical insight. It's usually also about what's the business aspect of this information, right? Then in between, what we call, the kind of vertical layer, it's your deployment strategy, whether it's in your own data center, which we call, private cloud now. It's in a public cloud, like Amazon EC2 or Microsoft Azure, whether you have any kind of mixtures between this. So any kind of infrastructure as a service or platform as a service is supported. And then, once you are at the back end of the chain, what you really need to have is the insight, like deep level insight into your actual applications. So if you look at, okay, you get the user experience, but what happens if something goes wrong? I think the strength of our solution is that we can really pinpoint to the root cause in any one of those different environments we talked about. So it really allows you to go down to the code level and see like, okay, because of this code line, maybe this mobile app is crashing. Is this still fine? Is it? Okay. Now, after giving this short overview, I want to really talk a little bit more in depth on the first part of our product family. Basically our solution for application management, also called Dynatrace. So a couple of years ago, we realized that having all this data is great, but having more and more data doesn't make it easier to actually understand the complexity. What you need is actual answers out of those data. So that's when we introduced smart baselining and like intelligent analytics, behavior learning. So basically you don't have to go through your data by yourself anymore and say like, oh, okay, this looks dangerous, maybe investigate here. What we actually do is we tell you when to you have to react. And not only like, on a threshold that CPU is going over 80%. We try to actually understand how your applications perform. So say, you have a very CPU-heavy application where it's normal that it runs on 99%. We don't want to alert you all the time. We're going to alert you when it drops, say, down to 50%. The next step for us with Dynatrace was then to reach out a little bit wider. So, originally we've been very Java, .NET based, but because of the opportunities we had with 컴퓨웨어, we also reached out to the mainframe. So we are basically the first APM transactional solution that covered this whole chain I presented beforehand to include mainframe. So now what you can do, you have, your mobile phone. If you think, for example, about the banking sector, where users make transactions, send money to a different account, and you can trace it back down to the bank's mainframe and see, maybe it's approaching the DB2 database, which is slow, so the actual user who's using this bank app is getting, frustrated. And this is pretty much the unique ability we offer you. The next step for us was then to see, okay, we have this, what we call pure path technology, which works perfectly on this horizontal kind of dimension, use at the front end down to the database. What we also wanted to approach to was the actual vertical level, which is, your application infrastructure. As I said, you have the application on top, then this runs on some servers. Those servers are actually running on different hardware or are running on the cloud. So we also wanted to include this kind of information to, make our smart analytics even stronger. We call that actually Pure Stack. And yeah, the goal is to connect your applications to the underlying infrastructure. And I already mentioned cloud a lot. So it also became clear to us, most applications or most bigger companies are reaching out to the cloud and actually offering their services through a new delivery chain called, software as a service. So we also started with Dynatrace to deploy this model. So it was called APM as a service, real user monitoring. We actually now proud to extend it also to the back-end sites. So now you can actually have a managed service where you don't have to run any hardware on your site, including to monitor your real users, but also actually including monitoring your back-end services. So the next step then, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in a minute, was to really get strong into mobile. So I think it has become clear that more and more services are consumed on a mobile, right? We see this in our day-to-day lives. Okay? I'm really sorry. Just, give me a hint when I drop off the microphone. So as I was saying, we see that more and more applications are consumed on mobiles. And as I said, you know, we not only support it natively, we also support it in different mixtures. And what we also give you now is pretty much an automatic way to kind of introduce our technology to your mobile phone. So if you look at other solutions where you have to actually add details to code, I think this is very cumbersome to do. So what we are aiming at is make it as easy as it is now for all the other application tiers, also make this usability available to you on mobile. Let me get a little bit more depth what our key focuses in this application monitoring. I think this is explanatory. Mobile apps, smart analytics. You know, the data is still growing, so it still doesn't make it easier for you to consume it unless you have really a smart way on analyzing this data. I think our actual motto for this is don't present data, present answers. And that's what we strive for a lot in our product. Another important thing is enterprise class. So we see that our customers are growing, and we want to grow with those customers. That does not only mean that, you know, we support big environments, meaning you can add more agents, more tiers, you know, extend your application layers. This actually also means that the more data comes in, the more reliable it has to work, the more users are probably using the product. So it's all about scaling, really. Which brings us to the next topic. Ease of use is also something that's one of the core goals for all our products. So the easier we make it for you to use in your day-to-day life, the more it becomes second nature, and more, and well, the better your grip on your application gets, which helps you to improve the performance, which makes happier customers. Also, if you think back to this big horizontal slide, as you can see, you know, we have the cloud, we have new technologies like big data, Hadoop. So this is also constantly growing, and we strive to add on to the already very broad support for technologies to increase this in future, and also offer you new versions that actually enable you to use this technology also together with any other performance monitoring you have. And as I said, increase scalability. You know, we want to grow with you. So all in all, very shortly, you know, we're trying to automatize most of the things. We want to get faster, broader, and pretty much enable you to, you know, work as little as possible with actually bringing in the product, and work as much as possible with actually analyzing or getting the information you need to make your customers happy. One good approach to do that is actually give you the ability to use Dynatrace whenever you want. So we introduced our free trial actually quite a while ago. So I think in the beginning beginning of this year, also in some regions late last year. And I don't know if any of you actually have access to free trial. It's now completely automatically available, so you can basically just go to the 컴퓨웨어 website, sign up, and you get all the information you need to roll out Dynatrace in your environment and just test it for 15 days with all the available features. So it's not a limited trial, it's really the whole product capabilities. Which, you know, starts with the whole chain. So this is also nice if you just want to introduce Dynatrace, so if you're already an existing customer, to maybe another colleague, or you think this would also fit for another business unit. You know, just forward the trial to them, and they can get it for free. All right, let's talk a little bit more on what we have in store for you with the upcoming release. So as I said, one of the important things right now for us is scaling out, branching out. So we do have a couple of really large environments. We're talking about thousands of application servers, really. And what we bring in with this release is, first of all, 64-bit support, which is becoming more and more standard. It actually allows you to use 8 times the memory which you could use before with our product, which once again means you can actually do analytics on bigger data blocks. So it also allows you to have more users approach the product at the same time. So about 10 times the number of clients that you can connect now than before. Another more, well, a different approach to scaling out is actually our collector technology. So as you might know, this is the part of the product that gets the data from the agent and then forwards it to the Dynatrace server to do the analytics. And what we do with this release is we allow you to actually cluster it. So you can have one collector having managed many others. It makes it easier, once again, to connect a lot of agents supporting a big environment. So here's just a very small example, really. If you think about, several users accessing the same Dynatrace server. So if you think about it, it's kind of a monolithic approach, right? And what we do now is we kind of actually split up the load between two different components. So one component, which we call the front-end server, is actually doing all the UI-related work, while the back-end server actually handles the incoming data. And this is, just one of the future steps we're taking to support big environments. So then now you have a big environment. What's the next step? Of course, if you have 10 agents, it's easier to manage them. If you have 100 agents, it gets a bit more complicated. Once you have 1,000 agents, you need support in that for the product to handle this. So what we're offering with this version is to allow you, first of all, run different versions of our product in your environment. So if you ever had the experience of updating Dynatrace and migrating Dynatrace, what we offer now is a very simple way. You can see just basically 3 steps to roll out a new version, configure a whole set of your agents. So as I said, with 10 agents, maybe it's okay to do it one by one by one. With 1,000 agents, this is, no options anymore. Coming back to technology support, so with every version, as I said, we're trying to extend. We do have now pretty much the biggest available technology support in the market. The new big topic, I think, which is also interesting for a lot of us, is Nginx. So this is coming out. We're already running the first customer trials with this. We have, of course, all the new JBoss versions. We have a lot of big data information. And we have, even going back to the mainframe, so we're supporting KICS and IMS. And all on the front end side, basically, we also have offerings for you in the Amazon cloud. So if you're a user of Amazon, we have a very easy way for you to use Dynatrace, because you can basically just automatically create your environment. And this is not where we're going to stop. So also talking a little bit about the future. Once we support Nginx, we see a lot of customers out there that are actually using Nginx in combination with Node.js. And it's a logical next step to support this as well. So we will deliver this in near future too. Concerning mobile phones, I think it's pretty clear how the market stands right now. On one side you have this huge Android customer base, you have a huge iOS customer base. The next step for us is actually to support Windows Phone. Also, as you might know, actually, we have a lot of Java support. We have .NET support for a long time, which is still, I think, the most used backend technology out there. But we see more and more, especially smaller companies, going slowly to Ruby, and some also to Python. So we're also trying to include this now in our technology scope. And in the end, so Oracle database, we know that we support any kind of database already. So we already give you the insight, what we are sending to the database and what's coming out of it. The next step for us is to actually enable you to add an additional tier to the database, which for some technologies like Oracle allow you, for example, to have a deeper look into the database activities themselves. Okay, so just basically shortly summing up, With Dynatrace, we brought in the hybrid mobile apps, a lot of activity for mobile. We introduced, or productized Hadoop support. We did with 6.0. We brought out the Dynatrace, or we're going to bring out the Dynatrace free trial really. We introduced a new scaling version, and in future we're actually working for, as I said, new technologies like Ruby, Python, deeper integration into Oracle, and working on support for Windows Phone. Okay, so much for Dynatrace really. The other part of our product family is APM as a service, or formerly called GOMIS, which gives you, it allows you to run synthetic tests on your environment. And you can see we share a lot of the main goals, like the smart analytics, the scalability, the ease of use. So this comes together in all our product families. So what happened with GOMIS is, after introducing our new mobile web kit, we kind of linked the whole APM as a service family together with Dynatrace. So as I mentioned, you can now really run everything in the cloud, run everything as a managed service, no hardware costs for you, and you still get the same insight. We have the complete browser families available for you. We basically support all the main browsers which you can run tests through. We increased our support for 4G, so to actually show you the different networks that might be used by your customers and the impact they have on your application or websites. And in the future release, what we also produced is a lot of third-party analytics. So if you have a website out there and you use Facebook, for example, with it, this can have a major impact on what's happening to your user, because if Facebook is slow, it can slow down your whole website. Together with zero config dashboards. So this relates to like the smart analytics, giving you more answers with less, including data. So once again, the keywords, APM Anywhere is another thing, with your mobile app, you can actually check your data. With the cloud, you can access your data pretty much globally. Third-party services, as I said, including Twitter, any kind of third-party that might have impact on your actual performance. And so let me just get into detail of some of the new and upcoming features. I think one very important part of what GOMIS was offering is always the recording capability. And we're basically introducing now all the very common activities you see on mobiles. That means you can also now record and replay different types of gestures. I think, swiping, actually click and holding, or tapping on different items, which I think is, a big gain for your synthetic tests on mobile apps. As I said, we make it easy for you to consume this analyzed data. So what we are offering really is a mobile app that you can just basically download, and you have an overview of what's happening, what the results of your different tests are, and just take it with you, and whenever you need it, take a look at it. Cool thing about the mobile app, it still gives you the same depth, right? Often if you see mobile apps and compare it to your actual applications which you run on your computer, it's always a very compressed version. Just gives you maybe 10% of the information you would actually usually have available. With our mobile app, what we strive to is actually to give you the same depth compressed in lesser views, so to speak. So drill down to actual root causes, also including, for example, our outage analyzer, which is another stream of information for you which you can use. So the outage analyzer pretty much has a global view on different networks and different, okay, thank you for the hint on the microphone. So outage analyzer actually collects data globally and then compress it to give you an overview of what's happening, for example, in your region. So if a ISP is down, you can get this information directly from Outage Analyzer without having to dig into your own data and wondering whether it's, is it me or is it my ISP. I'm going to keep this slide rather short. So basically, it's not a good way anymore to just run over waterfall charts. So this was, early approaches where you just see how long each step really takes, and then, the biggest bar would basically tell you what has the highest impact. But analyzing a waterfall diagram is actually rather cumbersome. So what we did is we combined this with our domain expertise. So since, we developed this product, we have a lot of very well-informed experts who know the different problems that can happen with applications. And as I said, we don't want to only offer you problems or data, we want to offer you answers. So for example, this is clearly a far better way to show you where the root cause lies than having you show a waterfall diagram. We can actually bubble this up to certain problems to just tell you, don't look at 50 different graphs. You have 4 problems right now. Work on those. However, we don't only present this overview layer. Of course, you can still dig down into the root cause details. So all the information is still there. It's not, just smarting up and keeping stuff out. We still give you the 100% visibility. As you might know, so if you work on the Gamma's platform, you have a limited retention time for your data. Because of use of new technologies and also improving the platform, we can now offer you actually 45 days of detailed data instead of 33. So the powerful thing about this is it actually lets you compare different months, right? 33 days, you have only the first two days in a new month. With 45, it gives you like pretty much two additional weeks that lets you compare what happened. Maybe in a similar scenario in the test I ran, in the last month. Okay, just to sum up real quickly, we do have introduced the new real user monitoring quite a while ago. We brought Dynatrace and Gomez together as well in one of those steps. So I'm not sure if ever you used it, but if you actually own both products, what you can do is you run your tests, and you can then drill down from Gomez actually to the pure path of these tests in your Dynatrace product. We extended the 4G network support, third-party analytics. Basically giving you a better insight in what happens if new customers are running on this technology. The next step was then to bring you this out-of-the-box dashboards. I think you can see a kind of pattern we often use. So we introduce a new technology, we give you the data and the information, and in the next step we actually see how can this data be used to give you the right answers straight away. So we make it kind of easier for you to actually consume the data. And this is basically what we then define as out-of-the-box dashboarding. All right. Extended data retention. Now what we are really working on is bringing a more powerful platform to you. So if you've been a Gomez customer for a long time, you might have realized that there is 2 different platforms in the background right now. So what we're really working on is now a single powerful platform that brings together all the experience you can have with Gomez in one form, which is going to be more use case oriented. I think that the theme here, as you can see, is that we're also actually growing the different parts of our product family closer together. So all the advantages you can have through Dynatrace, we bring to Gomez, and we also want to include this into DC-RUM, for example. Which actually brings us to the last part, or the network performance monitoring, also known as DC-RUM. And DC-RAM is very powerful because it gives you, a very quick overview of all the different applications in your network without having to install an agent. So if you compare it to Dynatrace, Dynatrace gives you very pinpoint capabilities to really say, okay, I want to monitor this tier, and this tier. Gomez gives you like the inside outlook. So you just plug it in pretty much, and it gives you the whole bandwidth of your applications very, very easily. So what we basically did is, after introducing, automatic fault domain isolation, which goes back to the smart and analytics part, we added strong support for Citrix. Actually, we are pretty much bleeding edge with this item, enabling you to actually monitor Zen apps, Zen desktops, or virtualization support. Another strong point of DC-RAM is actually our SAP decode. So we're pretty much the only solution that gives you this detailed insight in what's happening in your SAP environment. So both for the actual graphical interface, relationship to the web, and the RFC. The next step, then again, after having all this data, is I'll give you a smarter triage. So triage basically means having different samples of data. How do I find now the actual root cause to things? And since it's network monitoring, we give you this down to actually the package level. And in the last step, as I said, bringing the whole product family together, we similar to what we did actually between formerly known Gomez, so APM as a Service Synthetic, and Dynatrace. We did an integration that lets you drill down from any issue you find with DC-RAM to, for example, a pure path, or actually a test you ran before. Okay, so again, the keywords for DC-RAM really are spreading out for enterprise class support, being the leaders really if it comes to auto discovery and fault domain isolation, based on the network insight we have, ease of use, actually supporting your ERP and CRM environments, and actually also all your business apps you might be running out there. And again, increase scalability. As I said, this is a big topic for us because we see pretty much both sides happening. We have new customers coming in, and we have a lot of customers that are actually growing constantly and branching out. So we have to make it possible for you to run all the different parts of our product families in this bigger growing environments. And let me just, get in depth again on a couple of features or actually abilities we have. So you can see we support this big bandwidth of very business related and actually very widespread applications such as SAP, such as the different Oracle products, PeopleSoft, Siebel, IBM WebSphere, and so on. And what happened before is really, you have all these different kinds of workflows, and you can start to compare them. So DC-RAM actually gives you the whole insight on all the different parallel running applications. So which reduces, the complexity for you, okay, to enable you make informed decisions and decide where, for example, is it best to fix things first. And as I said, this is pretty much unique in the APM space. I think the key here for DC-RAM is that if you compare it to, for example, other network monitoring tools, it's not only based on, what a different package is doing, it really gives you the power to relate this to applications, which is, one of the strong points we really have in 컴퓨웨어 APM, to not only show you, okay, this is maybe some kind of hardware impact. No, this actually has this kind of impact on your applications, which then allows you to say, like, okay, when I have impact on this application, what does this mean for my users? If you know what it means for your users, you can decide what it means actually for your business, right? I think the other interesting ability we now offer with DC-RAM is actually recording. So I don't know who is a Gomez user among you, but you always had the ability, you know, to record a different test and then replay it. With networks, this was kind of tricky in the past, right? So once you have a network failure, it's really hard to reproduce certain things that happen on a network. So that's why we can now, what we call actually network forensics, allow you to replay a certain scenario that might have happened in your network. This is very important because once again, it gives you the data, but also the analytical level to allow you exactly where the root cause was for a different issue and kind of replay it as many times as you need to actually really identify how you can fix this issue. Right. The next part I want to address is, as I said, bringing everything together. This does not mean that for every product we have, you have to open, you know, your client for Dynatrace, go to your Gomez platform and open a client then for DC-RAM, you know, looking at 3 monitors constantly and making like conscious decisions at what I'm looking now and how it's related. So the goal really is to get rid of this and introduce like a single pane of glass, like a one-point view that brings all this information together so that you can consume it at one site. So you have, for example, you have your network information, but you can also have like, you know, see whether certain tests are failing. You can see if any users are actually having problems. And then make, you know, informed decisions upon this. Just you know, a more detailed view on this, as I said, you know, introducing Dynatrace. So you have basically any kind of user information, whether it's web or mobile or a hybrid of those. We have the synthetic information on also availabilities. So is my site down? Is it up? On your SLAs, how does it perform, and so on. And, of course, your DC-RAM health, all in one dashboard. So now you have everything in one dashboard. That doesn't mean, though, that everybody has to see the same information. I think with DC-RAM, what happened in the past was that you have pretty much one part where you consume your data and one part where it collects your data. So I'm not so sure how familiar with DC-RAM, but basically we're talking about the AMD that allows you, you know, to have this data analyzed, check where the problems are, and so on. And beneath you have your CAS, which is, you know, the data collection part. The cool thing now is that we actually allow you to connect different data collections or different CAS items with one AMD. However, we do not enforce having all the information in one single pane of glass. You can still now actually distribute information in your dashboards so that's available to the right people. So to go to this example, if you have an SAP operations team, they're probably interested in complete different data than your civil operations team. So what you can actually do is separate those things out and have, you know, your operators working with the information they actually need to handle their responsibilities. You know, whether it's on you know, a computer screen, or you can actually also use the mobile app and bring the data with you. So let me just shortly sum up what we introduced with DC-RAM. As I said, you know, we support the complete SAP ecosystem. As I said, GUI, all the different parts. Smarter triage for the network, so smarter pulling out the information. The actual forensic part, so recording and replaying of problems, making it also ready for you to prepare for upcoming issues. Mobile support, and, you know, a new modern UI, really. So what then are the upcoming next steps? We're still going to strive to bring you even more insight into, it's pretty much the #1 business applications out there. I think SAP is pretty much the leading the space. Citrix, again, is leading, or is a big part of the actual infrastructure part. Oracle, EBS, all those really big, how should I say, application parts that enables you to manage your business can be analyzed with DC-RAM. We strive to expand this circle basically to where we started. I think what I showed you is that with the growing complexity happening in the market right now, with if you just look at the mobile front, like 5 years ago, how many devices you had, especially if you look at the iPhone, where you have one device, one resolution and so on. Then Android came along and suddenly you have 100 of devices. And you all have to support those. The user experience has to be on a very high grade level for all of those devices out there. Then you had, the mixture between websites, mobile apps. Once again, more complexity. Very hard to handle with different tools. Still, going a step back, you have your application layers. So formerly you had everything in your data center. You had, a couple of maybe JVMs, a couple of .NET CLRs running. Now everything is distributed. Everything that runs in the cloud, we strive to don't build big monolithic environments. We just try to spread it out, and suddenly you're running, 1,000 JVMs, 1,000 different Windows instances, and so on. Which also have then impact on, for example, your databases. So here you see the same approach pretty much. If you think about NoSQL databases, things like Cassandra, which traditionally are based on clusters. All those kind of new technologies introducing complexity, working with former technology, what you really want to have is a 100% view over all those things. And that's basically what we offer you with the 컴퓨웨어 APM product family. So, if you have to remember one thing out of this talk, think about it as, a horizontal perspective that allows you to trace any transaction starting from the user down to your backend, over the mainframe down to the databases behind the mainframe. And you also have the power to see it in a vertical perspective. So you have your application on top, you have middle layers in between, you have it running on certain infrastructure on a certain network, and maybe this whole thing is actually distributed between your own data centers and the cloud. And what we strive to do is giving you 100% insight in all of those items. And that's also like, the future direction where we expect to increase this insight. All right. Yeah. And that's basically, that's why we invest 600 R&D resources to keep up with the increasing speed of these new innovations. All right. So thank you very much. I will hand over to